Welcome, everyone, to the Better Love Movement podcast, where you will finally learn how to intentionally do dating and relationships right. My name is Anita Stoudmire, and I'm a licensed professional therapist and your personal love mentor. I've worked with thousands of singles and couples, giving them the skills needed to attract and keep the amazing love they desire. It's my heart's work to help people to get the skills needed to not only become the very best versions of themselves, but to help them grow and evolve emotionally and relationally. You can absolutely have the romantic relationship of your dreams. Come and let me show you how. Hey. I am back again this week with another podcast episode. Hello. This is Anita Stoudmire, your resident love mentor, licensed professional therapist, relationship coach, specializing in femininity and the masculine-feminine polarity and all things related to that. So many things I love to talk about. But this week, I am back with another podcast episode. We are in, can you believe it? Episode number 139. Who would have thought when I started this podcast that it would go this far? But you know what? I am committed. I am growing and learning so much. And I am just so thrilled to be in a really great place with the podcast and with my listeners. Just feels amazing. I love the feedback that you all are giving me. I thank you so much for your support. I am so appreciative of it, and your questions and your comments, your DMs, your emails. Thank you so very much. If you are not following me on Instagram, you can find me there at Better Love Movement, and you can find me on Facebook and the YouTube channel, Better Love Movement. It is Better Love Movement everywhere. So please connect with me outside of just listening to the podcast. If you listen to the podcast, please subscribe to the YouTube channel. Right now, I am releasing 2 episodes a week for the next, 6 weeks maybe, probably till the end of the year. I am doing a free course over on YouTube. It is called The Feminine Way, and it is talking about everything you need to know about healthy femininity and falling back into your natural state of being, which is feminine. Okay, that's your predominant energy. And one of the things I don't talk about often, but I can just touch on briefly, I often tell men and women that really, if you want to know the truth, the ultimate goal is for men and women to have balance, right? That's really the ultimate goal, that men and women balance their masculine and their feminine. And you must choose one if you're going to be in a healthy, polarized romantic relationship. But in terms of just being a whole, authentic person, the goal is actually for you to balance both. So that means as a predominantly feminine energy woman, I am going to choose to be the feminine because that's what's natural for me in a romantic relationship. But I am also going to balance the masculine and feminine in every other role that I am in. So at work, with my children, with my friends, with my family, I am going to balance those energies. And that's pretty much what I do. I'm farther down the road on my path now. So I've learned how to balance those energies in every other realm. And in romantic relationships, I choose to be the feminine energy. I am predominant feminine energy with my man, and my man is predominantly masculine energy. Those are the roles that we have taken on. I have done so consciously and subconsciously because that is who I am. I am naturally the feminine energy in the relationship. I am naturally passive, patient, and vulnerable. And I'm working on the patience part because that's the hardest part for me, is being patient. Okay? So the ultimate goal is balance, is that you learn how to balance your masculine and feminine energy. But for ladies, I tell them, I want you to start off in your feminine energy. I want you to lean back into that energy because a lot of ladies have struggled with that. They're so far in their masculine that to rebound from that, they now need to bounce over into their feminine. And then when they become more comfortable in that, once they've mastered that, I can bring them over a little. I can bring them into balance. But for most of the women that I coach now, I do pull them over to the feminine side of the fence and I have them stay there for a while. And then we talk more about balance, okay? But we are in episode 139. This episode is entitled Be the Girl. I can't believe I have to talk about this, but I do. Because I have so many new followers, new listeners, new subscribers, and they don't know what I mean when I say to ladies, be the girl. Be the girl, right? So I'm going to tell you what that means. I'm going to talk a little bit about what be the girl means. And remember, I want you to start being the girl with men, all men, even men that you're not romantically involved with, because I want you to get used to being the girl when you're with men. And then you can even practice being the girl everywhere else. Like I can be the girl at work. I can be the girl with my friends. I can be the girl with my children. I can be the girl with my family, you know? But I want you to start there because if you're with healthy masculine men, it's going to be easier for you to fall into your feminine. It's going to be easier for you to be the girl. So that's a good place for you to start with some of these things we're going to talk about today. So when we're talking about be the girl, what does that look like? That looks like being open to receiving. So one of the things I love about being the feminine in my relationship is I am the receiver. And I am the receiver of all things good, right? So I'm not receiving things that I don't want or things that are bad for me. I reject those things, but I am open to receiving anything someone wants to give me or do for me. That's good. That's positive. And I am going to be receptive. Like I'm going to receive that. I'm going to appreciate it and say, oh, of course. Thank you so much. That's one of the tenets of, good, healthy femininity is you are a good receiver. You have no problem allowing people to give and do for you, to give to you. Okay. The second one is be collaborative and cooperative. And I have to talk to certain ladies about this who they struggle with control. They struggle with needing to know everything, every detail. They struggle with going along to get along, being beta. That's like a dirty word now. But they really struggle with, allowing another person. So we're going to start off with our men. They have a problem with allowing a man to plan and do and set up things because in their head, well, what if he does something I don't want? And what if we don't go to the place I want to go to? And what if he gets us there late? And what if this? And what if that? And on and on and on. Okay. And you know what I'm going to tell you? All right. All of that is very possible. But if you want to learn how to be in your healthy femininity, you must be collaborative and cooperative. Feminine is all about collaborating. Masculine is all about competing. And ladies, what you don't understand is when you allow a man to plan or to take you somewhere or to do something for you in the way that he wants to do it, and you don't put your 2 cents in it, you don't tell him how to do it, you don't ask a whole lot of questions. One of the hardest phrases that women struggle with that I'm trying to teach them is, oh, okay. Oh, that sounds wonderful. All right, thanks. Thank you so much. Oh, that sounds amazing. Oh, great job. Okay. Like that's it. You don't have to say anything else. You don't have to ask any questions. Oh, that's women are just screaming right now as I say that. Don't ask questions. Don't ask questions. Yeah. Sometimes I don't want you to ask any questions. Whatever he's presenting, whatever he wants to do, again, remember, as long as it is good and positive. Now, if it is negative, if it's going to hurt you in some way, if it's going to cost you a lot of money, if it's going to, if it's negative, okay, then sure, of course you should speak up. Of course you should say, well, that doesn't feel very good to me. And so for me, that might look like, I'm very cold sensitive. I'm a person born in the winter and I'm very cold sensitive. So if a man said to me, yeah, I want to take us, to this retreat, this weekend retreat, and we're going to take ice baths and we're going to go outside, in our bathing suits in the, minus 20 below weather. It's supposed to help with our circulation and it's supposed to help us, gain spiritual clarity. We're going to do all this stuff out in the cold. I would say, no, thank you. I would say, no, thank you, because that's not something good and positive for me. That doesn't feel good for me. So remember, as the feminine, you're always allowed to express, what doesn't feel good to you, what you may say may be negative. But here's the caveat. Don't make that thing something as simple as, well, I want to go to Outback and he wants to go to a Mexican restaurant. Neither one of those is negative. So we can't say, oh, because I'm not going to the exact place I want to go, that's deemed as negative. So you said I could speak up. You said I could say something. No, that's not negative. The man wants to take you out for a meal. And as long as you're not allergic to anything there, or, you're not going to be sick from eating wherever he's taking you, just let him take you. You all know what I'm talking about. It has to be something egregious, something very negative, for you to speak up and say, oh no, that doesn't sound like fun to me, But if it's not that, if my man just suddenly said, hey, I've got a surprise weekend planned and, throw some things in a bag. We're heading out on Friday at 5 and we'll be back on Sunday. And I've taken care of the pets and I've gotten someone to come and, stay with your daughter and I've taken care of the pets, right? If he's done all of that, I'm going. I'm like, ooh, an adventure. And one that I didn't plan, one that I'm not paying for. Sounds good to me. And I'm going to be like, okay, as long as those things that need to be cared for are taken care of, okay, that's what I want you to get used to doing more of. You don't always have to have a vote. And again, I know you're screaming right now when you're hearing that, oh, we're equal. I should have equal say and this and that. No, that's not what polarity is about. Polarity is about equity. And if you want to keep the spice and the spark in your relationship, let the man be the man. You don't have to have a vote about everything. Guess what? There are grown men that can actually choose a restaurant, pick a time to go, pick you up. They can choose a hotel and plan a weekend getaway. There are grown men that know how to do that. I would think you would want one of them. And so allow that to happen. You don't have to be involved in every part of the plan. The feminine is receptive and she's going to be collaborative and cooperative. She's not going to ask tons of questions or fight back at every turn. No, she's going to say, okay, that's it. All right. So Dr. Patricia Allen, one of my famed mentors, she wrote the book, Getting to I Do. And she gives the 3 tenets of femininity from that book. It is passive, patient, and vulnerable. That's Dr. Allen's work, not mine. And so I am working on the patient part. I have gotten better at being more passive. And again, in my romantic relationship, allowing, surrendering, right? That's what that's about. It doesn't mean you don't have a brain. It doesn't mean you're not smart. No one's saying that about you. It's saying that, okay, I can go along. I can acquiesce. That's it. And if you want to plan an adventure for us or plan a dinner, or you want to find a sitter and take me out that night and then we stay in a hotel, if you want to do all of that, I can allow that to happen. That feels good. Okay. Patient. That means that your time is not a man's time. And this is a tough one because, ladies, we have a unique relationship with time. Our bodies are actual clocks. And so time, we internalize time. Like we know what a minute, an hour, a day, a week, a month, a year, we know what all of that feels like because we grow human beings inside of our bodies. And so nothing irks me more than when I'm in a relationship with a man and someone says, "Oh, how long have you all been dating?" And he'll say something like 4 months, and I'm like, "A year and 12, a year and 12 days, We've been dating 1 year and 12 days, right? And he's like, "Oh, like 4 months, right?" He has no concept of time because his body is not a clock. He's not growing human beings inside of his body. He's not having a cycle every 21 days, every 28 days. That's not happening for him. So for him, he's like, "Oh, it doesn't even feel like it's been that long." Whereas for us, we know how long it's been. So working on being patient, and patience will look like, a man is doing something, but in his own time. And you are giving him ample time in which to make that happen. Now, here's the caveat. If that timing looks like, let's say you're waiting for commitment, you can put a timeline on it. I just want you to, not make sure that timeline is super, short because you want to rush into commitment. I want you to be more patient. I want you to give him a timeline that's reasonable, that any reasonable person would say, yeah, that's reasonable. So if that's 6 months to be exclusive and committed, if that's a year to be considering getting married, or 2 years, I think 2 years is a reasonable amount of time that if you want to be married, that's something we should be working towards and talking about. And it should be happening. I'm not going to give a man more than 2 years of my life and no conversation is happening about marriage, because that's my personal ultimate goal is marriage. And so, I've often encouraged ladies, no, he does not get a blank check. You do not give him, just he has as long as he wants. No, because it's your life too. And as I've stated before, women have a very different relationship with time. And we have, a biological clock. That's not a theory, that's a fact. Our body's, ability to procreate will run down. So we can't give a man 5 years or 10 years, especially depending on your age. So yes, I want you to give them a timeline. And then when that timeline is up, you express that you thought, you all would be a little further along. What you all have is great. So you always start the conversation with, "Oh my gosh, this has been so great. We're having such a good time. We're getting along. I really love what we have. I love what we're doing. However, I really thought we'd be a little further along in terms of, my desire is to be a wife. And you told me it's your desire to be a husband. It's your desire to get married too. And so, perhaps I'm not the person that you want to get married to. And that's okay. If that is the case, that's perfectly okay. I need to know that from you. And then we need to make plans to move on. We need to make plans to find the people that we want to marry. And what do you think about that? You have that conversation. But you don't allow a man to buy a whole lot more time, because remember, the feminine, she focuses on herself, her wants, her needs, her desires. She loves herself, and what she wants, it's important. It matters. It's the number one thing in her world until she's married, until she's married and has a family. She puts herself first. And so, you're patient, but you're not infinitely patient. You don't give a man a blank check with your time, because that's the one thing you can't make more of. And then the third tenet is vulnerability. So in our modern day world, women struggle because, and a lot of it's because they are so deeply in their masculine, right? So the masculine is not outwardly vulnerable. Like, men don't go around crying at work and, oversharing and telling people every thought and feeling they have. But because women have become more like men, they are not vulnerable. They're not comfortable with being appropriately vulnerable. And that means you're going to speak to a man from your heart and not your head or your pain. You're going to express what you want and need, and not a whole lot of what you don't want. So you're not going to sit around complaining or criticizing. You're just going to share with him how you feel about something. And you can share a little bit about why you feel that way. Ask him what he thinks about it. But be vulnerable. Vulnerability, as I always tell ladies, it's my superpower. It's the way that I get everything I want is by being vulnerable. So that's something you have to practice. All right, this next one is gratitude. A big part of feminine energy is being grateful. We are so grateful and so thankful and so appreciative. And so when I see ladies, modern day women out here now that, are posting their text threads or posting, these videos about, oh, the man, wanted to do this and that for my birthday, and I didn't want that. I didn't want to go to that restaurant, and I didn't want that gift, and I wanted this and I wanted that. It's the lack of gratitude that just blows my mind. It's the lack of appreciation. And when ladies come to me and they tell me those stories, I tell them, look, the feminine is appreciative. Like, she's appreciative of what a man is giving and doing. If it is not up to your standard, you always have the veto right. Like, you can veto and say, this relationship doesn't work for me, or, that's not up to the standard that I set for myself. But you don't get to dictate. See, that's not feminine. There's nothing feminine about that. Is you're going to tell him what he should be doing. You're going to tell him what he should be giving. You're going to, because as I always tell women, you allow a man to give and do, you allow him to be himself, and then you assess if that's okay with you. You accept it or you reject it. That's it. But for you to dictate, see, you're getting over into the land of the masculine. You're getting over into the controlling and conquering, and I'm going to tell you how to do it because this, and this. And remember, as we move on, we're always able to express to a man our desires. There's a big difference between expressing a desire and dictating. Those are two different things. I express my desires to men all the time, and that's how I get what I want. But I also accept and appreciate what he gives me. And those are things that, maybe I didn't want or I didn't even know I wanted. I accept it and I appreciate it because I know that if I do that, that opens a man up to wanting to give me more and to wanting to give me what I want. And so I express my desires about what I want. That is the way to do it, ladies. But for you to reject what he's given, for you to be ungrateful and unappreciative, oh no, he's not going to listen to your desires because you're ungrateful. So be grateful, all right? Be thankful, because anything a person is doing for you, in my opinion, is a big deal. Like, this is something I didn't do for myself. This is something I didn't pay for. This is something, that was given to me out of this person's free will. That's a gift. And it should be seen as such, or, a present at best, okay? I also have on here that the feminine is deeply nurturing. But again, I have to give you the caveat, okay? So we do not ever nurture full-grown men. And I've gotten a lot of pushback on that. What? I'm not to nurture my husband. I'm not to nurture, my 15-year-old son. I'm not to nurture, these other men in my life, my uncles, my cousins. No. Nope. There is no nurturing. Nurturing, by definition, is you taking care of something, caretaking something that can't take care of itself. So let's see, a baby, a young child, a plant, animals, all of those things are welcome to your nurturing. And that's why women are, they're not having children, but they're having lots of animals. That's like the new thing now, because it is in a woman's nature to nurture something. And so it's so interesting to me that a lot of radical feminist women are, adopting a lot of animals. They have a lot of cats or a lot of dogs, or they have birds or whatever animals they have. And they don't even realize that that's their biology showing up. Their biology is saying, nurture something. So they have animals, they have plants, they have things that they nurture. It may not be children, but they have things that they nurture. And we do not nurture grown people. We do not nurture our sons once they get to a certain age, once they are capable of taking care of themselves, cooking for themselves, cleaning up their room, washing their clothes, taking out the trash, doing other errands around the house. Nurturing stops, and we then we give them respect. We give them gratitude. We give them appreciation. See, those are the things that men, or especially young boys, need to become men. They don't need nurturing. They need respect. They need gratitude and appreciation. They need inspiration. You can inspire your man. You can encourage your man, but you should not be nurturing your man. But you certainly can speak life into him. You can encourage him. You can let him know that you think he's the smartest guy you know. He's going to figure it out. He's so great. He's so capable. Yeah, you can do all of that. But nurturing is something very different. That is you coddling, babying, and doing something that he's responsible for. You're taking on that responsibility yourself, and he's responsible for it. Finding a man a job, rewriting his resume, all of those things. No, he's a grown man, and he can figure that out. He needs to figure that out. If you're going to respect him long term, if you're going to admire him, he must figure those things out. So the feminine is deeply nurturing, but nurturing things that cannot take care of itself. Okay? Or elderly people who are elderly once our parents get older and they lose the ability to take care of themselves. Of course, you may nurture them. You may nurture your pets. You may nurture your young children. You may nurture your plants. So yes, but grown men, no. Please remove them from the list of people that you nurture. Okay? Feminine is also tender. This is a word we don't use enough. And I don't use it enough. That's why when I came across it, I was like, ooh, I love the way that word sounds, tender. Oh, I just love the way that word sounds. And not to be confused with Tinder, the dating app. Okay? This is Tender. Be tender. Be soft. Be kind. Right? I love all of those words. There's something about that word tender, though, that just, And then it also reminds me of a tender steak, like melt in your mouth steak. So I just love that word. But embodying those words, tender, soft, kind. So it's kind of like when we change our voice when we're talking to a baby or a puppy. I want you to learn how to do that a little bit with everybody, right? Here and there. You don't have to do it with your man all the time, but just here and there. Throw a little bit of that tender spice, that soft, kind spice on there every now and again. That's how you keep a man in love. He should see that tender, soft side of you. He should see that every now and again. I show that to my kids every now and again. I show that to my friends every now and again. So yes, developing that is part of your feminine allure. All right. Also, I have on my list feeling versus thinking. Okay, so many women, what did they say? I'm just in my head. I'm just overthinking. I know I'm just, I'm all in my head. It's hard for me to turn my thoughts off. It's hard for me not to think. That's because you are deeply on the side of your masculine. And you need to come back to the feminine side where you're in your heart, where you're in that chest region, where you're feeling, where you're in the gut region. Ooh, that's the good one. You're feeling from your heart and you're feeling in your gut. You have this primordial gut instinct about things. And so many people are missing that. That's why so many people are falling for this narcissist mess. Like, it blows my mind that women are falling for 2, 3, 4, 5 narcissists at a time, like back to back. I'm like, your gut is turned off. Like, you're not in your heart. You're not in your gut, because you should see this coming. It's not hard. Like, my ex-husband was the first and last narcissist I ever experienced. And I was like, okay, got it. Got it. I will not be going through that again. And I wouldn't even say he got the best of me. Like, I slipped out before it got really bad. Before it got really bad, I slipped out of it. So, that was enough for me to go, nope. That love bombing, that trying to reel you in with gifts and money and trips and stuff, Gaslighting, I'm good. I see that coming a mile away. But you have to be in your heart. You have to be in your gut. And you have to develop a spirit of discernment. To me, when I hear that word discernment, it's very feminine. It's like I intuitively just know. That's what that means. Whenever I hear that word discernment used in the Bible, in the biblical sense, I immediately think feminine. Because to me, that's what the feminine is. She is intuitive. She has a gut instinct about things, and she's very feeling and not thinking. But some of us, boy, we live in our head and we're think, and we think ourselves right out of the good stuff. We think ourselves out of relationships. We think ourselves out of friendships, out of jobs, out of family relationships, out of our money. Think. No, the feminine is a feeling energy. It's a very creative energy, right? That's why women were blessed and honored and chosen to bring life into the world. Oh, what greater creation than a baby? Think about that. We were chosen as the womb of humanity. Wow. I mean, every time I think about that, I just get chills up and down my spine. And y'all, let me be honest. When I was pregnant with my first child, my first daughter, I remember, I was incredibly uncomfortable. And I remember just, why, I remember thinking, why am I chosen to do this? Man, this is uncomfortable. Man, I have to change my whole life. I can't have coffee. I can't have orange juice. I can't drink alcohol. I can't, all these things I couldn't do, right? My daughter was born, I kid you not, the day my daughter was born, and that was a long night and day of labor. But when she was finally born, and I just looked upon her and I was crying. I was just like, oh, God has given me the honor, the great responsibility to bring human beings into this world. It changed my life forever. I honestly believe like that was the day I became a woman. That was the day I became a feminine woman. And I fully understood the power of my femininity. I got it. I was like, damn, I'm a badass. I remember that. And I even remember, y'all, if I can be transparent, I remember that was my whole like vibe. My husband was like, you're different. You're different. There's something about you that's different. Ever since you had Paige, you're just different. Yeah, I was. I was like, you can't tell me nothing. You can't tell me nothing. Do you just see what I did? You just see what came out of me? And now I'm feeding this child from my breast? Oh, you can't tell me nothing. Like, I had it was like a whole vibe, y'all. I had a whole attitude like, so when was the last time you pushed a baby out of you? Like, every time he would say, well, I do this and I do that. And I'm like, And so when was the last time you grew a whole human being inside of you? And I want you all to feel that power. Like you have the capability of doing that, even if you haven't done it. It lies within you. And let's go here. Let's say you're listening to this and you're struggling with fertility, or you haven't had a child or have been told you cannot have a child. Do you know, in God's ultimate wisdom, you can nurse a baby without having a baby? You can nurse a baby. Like you can, as a woman, adopt a baby and put it to your breast, and your breast will make milk. And you didn't physically have that baby. Do you know that your body can do that? That is how amazing God is. That's how amazing God created you. He will allow you to make milk for that baby, and you did not birth that baby. So y'all, you still got it going on. Like in so many ways. And I mean, there's so many ways even beyond that. But that to me is like the biggest way that women have an inner strength that men just don't have. And it's not to say we're better, but we're different. We're different in a big way. And I'm proud of that. I'm proud of being different. I don't want to be a man. On no given day, do I want to be a man? Do I want to do what men do? I love their energy. I love the masculinity that a healthy man brings to me. And I want him to be all of that so that he can compliment me. But I don't want to do that. I don't want to do it all. I don't want to be a man. No, I want to rest in my femininity. I want to do the things that God has designed me to do and leave the rest to my healthy masculine man. That's what I want to do. So, yeah, that's the power I want you to rest in. Like when you start thinking, men have it easier or they are better or whatever, it's just different. It's just different. They have, their crosses to bear, and then they have a lot of great things. There are a lot of great things about being a man, but the same is true of being a woman. And I want us to get back to a place where it's, we're different, and that's okay. It is okay for us to be different. And we each have our strengths and we each have our weaknesses. That's why we need each other. That's what the healthy polarity is about. All right. On here, I also have, before I go off on a tangent, the nonverbal communication as well as the verbal communication. So the feminine utilizes nonverbal communication. And if she's, deeply in her feminine, she knows how to express herself to people without saying a word. And this is one of the exercises I give to my ladies in coaching. I say, you know what? I want you to talk a little less. I want you to use your nonverbal, your body language a little bit more to express, how you're feeling, right? What's going on inside of you. Use nonverbal cues. Use your body. Use body language. Because that's a practice of being in your feminine. You don't always have to use words. And we all know women talk. We love to talk. We love words. But sometimes a man wants to see you for sure, because men are visual, and he wants to feel you. Oh, he wants to feel you. And to me, like that's when I turn a man on, that's what I'm doing. I'm letting him see me. And I'm letting him feel me. And feeling me is not physical touch always, even though that can be a part of it. It's a vibe. It's an energy. Like as soon as I come into the room, my energy precedes me. That's what I'm teaching women more and more. And that's what is lacking. Like I don't even feel their energy. Women will come in. They'll come into a workshop that I have, or they'll come into their coaching session or their counseling. I don't even feel that energy. So I'm like, I know he don't feel the energy, I don't feel it. And I'm really asking women to hone into that energy, that sensual, sexual energy, that tender, soft, nurturing, intuitive, grateful, appreciative, vulnerable energy, open energy. Tune into that. That's what a man, and you don't have to open your mouth. You don't have to open your mouth. And let me tell you, ladies, there were women, starlets in the 40s and the 50s. They had this. They had this energy. So if you want to know what I'm talking about, I want you to rent some movies with like Marilyn Monroe, Sophia Loren, who else? Lauren Bacall. Like rent some of those movies. And watch their energy. Oh, Dorothy Dandridge. Oh, watch a couple of those movies. Like, I'm intoxicated. Every time I see Dorothy Dandridge, I'm like intoxicated. I'm like, dang, wow. So I know men are thinking that. But those are the movies I want you all to check out when we're talking about a nonverbal communication, an energy that I want you to start embodying. I need to, you know what I'm going to do? I just gave myself a great idea. I'm going to list some great movies for you all to watch. I'm going to probably do it on Instagram and Facebook for you all to watch to learn about this nonverbal embodying of feminine energy. There's some really great movies. Carmen is one of them. Oh, watch Dorothy Dandridge and Carmen. Just amazing. Okay. Also, I have on my list being empathetic, being grounded in empathy for other people, right? Being able to put yourself in other people's shoes and being deeply empathetic for people and for men, right? To be able to read a man, having healthy emotional intelligence, being able to read a man's energy just based on, his body language, the look on his face, and being able to say, "Oh, you look so tired," or, "Oh, it looks like something's bothering you. Am I right?" Like that's a skill. That's a gift that, in my opinion, the greatest feminine women have. They're able to read people and speak that into them. "Oh, it looks like you're disappointed. Oh, it looks like you're really sad about something. Am I right?" And allowing a person space, like you hold space for people, safe space for people to express themselves, especially your man. And this is one of the biggest complaints that men have. There is no safe space, for them to express themselves. And remember, this is not babying. This is not coddling. We're not doing any of that. We're simply being empathetic. We're reading a man's body language. We're reading into his facial expressions. We're reading into if he's quiet or the way he comes into the room, the way he picks things up or puts things down. We're reading into that. And we're offering up a safe space for him to talk with us if he wants to. If he doesn't, guess what? We're walking away. We're going, "Okay, well, if you want to talk, I'm here." Like, we don't push. Ladies, we don't push. We don't make a man do anything. We don't insist that a man spill his guts to us. We give him the opportunity. We offer a safe space to fall. If he does not take it, we go, "Okay, well, let me know if you need to talk. I'm always here." And then we get gone. That's it. But empathy and being grounded in that is so important to be a healthy feminine woman. All right. And then I also have connection. Feminine women are connectors. They tend to be almost like a hub, of whether it's family or friends or your man's family and friends, your children and their friends. You are all about connection. You're all about connecting people, right? And being kind of a connector to various different people. You offer reassurance, and you need reassurance. Right? That's one of the things that women tell me all the time is that, I just wished, when I'm feeling a little jealous or I'm feeling, fat or I'm feeling, like I'm not pretty today, I just need reassurance. And yes, for sure, the feminine needs lots of reassurance. That's something I work with men on, is how to reassure and validate their wives and their girlfriends. And the feminine needs attention. And it's so interesting because I remember saying, to someone a couple of years back when, Instagram was taking off, I was like, yeah, this must be invented by a woman. Like, Instagram is like a feminine social media because it's all about attention, right? The pictures, it's all about posting pictures to get attention. And so I always told myself that I would look into that, like whose idea was Instagram? Was it a woman's? Because it appears so. It appears that a feminine woman was like, it would be really cool if we could just, post these pictures and get these likes and get this attention. And, that's such a feminine quality, is wanting attention and to be seen. That's definitely a more feminine trait than masculine trait. Okay. The feminine is also put together. She is well put together physically. She is classy. She is elegant. She is virtuous. She is clean. She's healthy. She's mature. Okay, those are a couple of other words I wrote down to describe what being the girl is. She is fun. She is flirtatious, right? She's playful. I love that word. And I'm working on being more of that. I am working on being more playful. Now, I am a very witty person by nature. I'm very humorous. I love humor. And I find that that's the one trait that a lot of men will say to me, you don't take yourself too seriously. You're kind of playful. You're kind of funny, And I say to myself, yes, I am. That is true. I don't take myself so seriously. When I'm with a man, I want it to be fun and light. I want to feel good, and I want him to feel good, and for him to want me to feel good, right? And so we want to enjoy each other. And a lot of women have gotten away from this, especially women who have been in relationships for a long time or women who are married. I never want to stop playing. I never want to stop laughing with my man. I never want to stop having a good time with my man at any given moment. I want to be able to say, let's rent bikes. Let's ride bikes together. Let's go for a walk on a hiking trail. Let's play a game. Let's go to the comedy club. I never want to stop playing. And play is so important. We learn so much about ourselves and others when we're playing. And I am also just a very physical person. I'm very physically active and I just love to play. But there are all different ways to play. So for the women who are not like super physically active like me, or you're not real outdoorsy, there are other ways in which you can play. So I often encourage women to go to paint parties or go to those like pottery parties, make candles, go to something creative and play, enjoy that time with your family and your friends and talking and creating something. That's one way that you can do it. Or if you have children, play games with them, play little games with them or watch some of their funny shows. But that's going to keep the little girl in you alive. And I want to keep the little girl in me alive. I had a gentleman just today, he reached out to me through Facebook Messenger. And he was like, oh my gosh, there is no way you're 53. Like, you look like a girl. And I was so not only taken aback, but I was just so charmed by that, because I want to believe that he is seeing the little girl inside of me. Like, that's what's contributing to my youthful appearance, is that I still feel like a little girl sometimes. I still feel very young and youthful and exuberant, and playful and fun and flirtatious. So yes, I want you to work on that. I want you to work on bringing out that fun, feminine, flirty side of you, that goddess side of you. That's just carefree and, allows and is open to receive and is cooperative and is patient and vulnerable and grateful and intuitive and nurturing, tender and soft, all of those things, all of the things that we've talked about. I want you to work on embodying some of those things. So if you've listened to this episode, you might have to go back and take some notes and just write down some of the words that I used and say to yourself every day, today I'm going to embody gratefulness. Or today, I'm going to embody being soft and tender. Today, I'm going to embody being intuitive and listening to my gut. Or today, I'm going to embody nonverbal communication. I'm going to speak to people nonverbally with my energy and with my body language, okay? So you can try some of these out each and every day. That's how you're going to really get into the practice of this, is you have to practice. You have to do it every single day. Okay. I hope this was helpful to you. I am on hiatus right now for a little while, taking a step back from social media, so I can complete my next book written for all of the ladies who are in relationships. So if you're in a exclusive and committed relationship, or you're married or engaged, this book is for you. It is called Do Well, A Feminine Woman's Guide to Relationship Success. And I'm really excited about this book. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. This book may trigger some, because I am giving some traditional wisdom. And we are living in a 2021 fourth wave radical feminist, the old-fashioned way doesn't work. Men and women are the same. That's not equal. Oh man, so some of this stuff is going to trigger you. I'm just going to warn you. But the truth is, it works. It works. If you want to have a happy, healthy relationship, if you want to have a happy, healthy marriage, and you want a man that's a healthy, masculine man, a leader, a provider, a protector, this stuff works. That's it. And that's all I've ever told anyone. Try it. Try it for yourself. And if it isn't working for you, okay, then I'll take it all back. But most of the women that I work with that have tried it say it's going great. They're feeling better. They're feeling happier. They're learning how to rest in their feminine, and they're less controlling. They're less, wanting to micromanage everything. And they have a man who's stepping up in a real way. So try it. Try it and see what happens. Thank you so much, ladies, for joining me for this week's episode. And as always, stay open to love. Thank you for listening to today's podcast episode. If you are enjoying this podcast, please leave me a 5-star rating and review. Your ratings and reviews help me to continue to bring you more great content. Head on over to YouTube and check out the Better Love Movement channel. There's more video content there, and you can subscribe to be notified when a new video is posted. If you have a question that you would like to have answered on the podcast or in a YouTube video, please send it to me at info@betterlovemovement.com. You can also connect with me directly on the Magnify app to have your dating and relationship questions answered. That's MAGNIFI, and it's available on iOS and Android. You get your first 5 minutes for free. So give me a call and let's chat.